Well, researchers at the University of Cape Town have created an artificial sense of Researchers at the University of Cape Town, apologies for that, have created an artificial sense of touch in the form of a glove, with the hopes that this could benefit leprosy patients. The glove is currently being tested at the Leprosy Mission Hospital in New Delhi in India. The smart glove is made up of a special stretchable fabric embedded with nanosensors, which can determine E-factors like roughness, temperature, pressure and humidity. In South Africa, we have an average of 60 new cases of leprosy recorded each year. Earlier, I spoke to Dr. Sudesh Sivarasu from the Biomedical Engineering faculty at the University of Cape Town. Please note that some of the visuals may affect sensitive viewers. Let's take a look. Well, joining me on Skype is Dr. Sudesh Sivarasu from the Biomedical Engineering faculty at the University of Cape Town. Doctor, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Doctor, how did the idea to develop this glove come about?
Incidentally, once I was watching a person, a leprosy patient, drinking coffee. In India there is a tradition that we don't use ceramic mugs. We use stainless steel jugs or tumblers for holding and drinking coffee. So I saw this person holding a hot cup of coffee in his hand. And whenever we tend to hold hot objects in our hand, we'll keep moving our fingers up and down so that the temperature doesn't concentrate on our fingers. But this person was a leprosy patient, and he didn't feel that the coffee tumbler was too hot, but he in the same way. And I was just seeing his hand getting burned. Then that was the time when I realized that something should be done about this, and there should be something to alert the patient, because the leprosy patient doesn't have the sense of anything that we feel. That's where the idea of creating a mask, creating a glove which could actually mask the entire senses of your hand, and alert the patient what needs to be done, and prevent them from injuring.
Well, doctor, one doesn't hear that often about leprosy these days. How widespread is it? Are there still people having to battle with this?
Yes, it is. It is kind of a myth that leprosy is eradicated. Unfortunately, it is on the rise. Countries like India, Brazil, and in South African, in the African context, Nigeria, and in the sub-Saharan Africa, we have Mozambique, and also South Africa has about 50 to 70 new cases every year. And what has happened in the past is specialized leprosy clinics have been closed, and all the patients with leprosy are being treated in the dermatology departments. So incidentally, there were two new cases, leprosy cases identified in Ireland, which was considered to be a zero zone for leprosy. So two new cases in Ireland is a eye opener, but it is on the rise.
Doctor, can you explain to us exactly what leprosy is for some of our viewers, perhaps who aren't familiar with it?
Mm-hmm. Leprosy is a skin disease, infectious skin disease, but naturally 90% of us are immune to it, and we don't get affected by it. But for the remaining 5%, once they get affected, the parts of the body, including fingers, digits, extremities of the body, eyes, nose, get affected, and they lose sensitivity in these parts of the body. And eventually what happens is, once the sensory loss comes in, the patient, by doing his day-to-day activity, injures their extremities of the body, and thereby becomes disabled eventually. So even though the disease causes only the sensory loss, it is the patient who actually gets into the disability zone by their inability to control their senses, or to know their senses, basically. And from biomedical engineering, what we are trying to do is we are trying to create the sense of touch. See, it is if it is vision, vision is quite a large area that is being researched upon. Hearing is quite a large area that is being researched upon. But about touch, it is such an underrated sense. You can't define how you feel. It is such a complex phenomenon. It is a personal experience, how you feel. When you touch something, how you feel is completely a personal experience. And what causes that is a complex sensory system in your hands, which has a multiple layers, which is connected to the sensory system, which eventually feels pressure, temperature, and sequences of pressure to identify vibration and a lot of other things. For example, humidity. Your finger gets wet when you lie, or when you in the hot temperature. That's for temperature modification of your body. So a lot of things happens in your epidermis, and this all contributes into this sense of touch.
Well, Doctor, it's probably something most of us don't even think about, the sense of touch. So yes. How did you go about developing this glove, and what's it made from? How does it work?
Okay, so basically, to tell it in a nutshell, what we have done is we have picked off-the-shelf things. Like the glove that you see is an off-the-shelf glove that is being used on a day-to-day basis, hospital and in a hospital environment. We have picked sensors. Pressure, temperature, and humidity sensors, and we have embedded these pressure, temperature, and humidity sensors into the fabric glove that we have taken, and we have created a sensory network using these pressure, temperature, and humidity sensors, and also created a customized software. What we have done is integrating all this on the glove. We are able to see how a person or a patient uses their hand. For example, if a patient uses the hand for cooking, let's say, take that as an example. So a leprosy patient wouldn't feel when he's holding a hot object. So they tend to injure themselves further and further by touching the hot objects. So what this glove is capable of doing is as soon as the threshold of temperature or pressure is reached, the patient is given an audiovisual feedback. So there's a beep as well as a visual feedback which a patient receives, indicating that you have already exceeded the threshold of this particular temperature touch, and you'll have to move your finger, otherwise you're going to end up burning your. So in one way, it gives the patient a sense of alertness to stay away from injury. And injury further leads into pressure source or temperature source, and then leads into infection, and then into amputation. Already they have such a social stigma that they don't get into job, but with an amputated hand, it's almost impossible for them to find a job. So that's all. So they are being pushed socioeconomically in a different to a newer, lower level. So we are trying to see how we can prevent disability. One, the disease is curable. Once the patient has been identified with leprosy, there's very good, good therapies, a multi-drug therapy system which could cure the disease. But the sensory loss that has happened because of the disease is irreversible. So if I've lost in this finger, a sense in this finger, I can't regain that sense of touch in this finger, even if the disease of leprosy is cured. So that is where this glove come into play.
Well, it sounds like a wonderful invention. Doctor, you're testing this in India at the moment.
Yes.
What are the results of the test? What do they show so far?
Yeah. We are testing this in association with the Leprosy Mission New Delhi in India, and we have tested it over 100 patients now, and the results have been phenomenal. We have been able to save digits. That's what we call. We have been able to save digits of leprosy patients. One, we have been successfully using this in preventative care. So the patient who uses this glove, the area of injury, area prone for injury, has been identified earlier, and preventative care is given to the patient. second thing is what we eventually found in the course of the researches. We have been able to track the usage pattern of different patients. Each individual's hand usage is completely different from one another. So the hand biomechanics of mine will be completely different than yours. So the way in which we use the hand is going to make a very big difference in which you write, in which you drive your car, in which you cook your food, and if you go to lower income settings, in which you're going to chop the wood, etc., etc. And that individual characteristics of the hand is being, we were able to identify and then give them a preventative care through this smart glove.
Well, it sounds like a remarkable invention, and we wish you all the very best with it. That was Dr. Sudesh Sivarasu from the Biomedical Engineering Faculty at the University of Cape Town. Thank you so much for joining us. All we have time for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back again tomorrow night, of course, same time, same place, from myself and the ANN7 Prime team. Good night.
I really thought I was content.